Hello, everyone, and welcome to Flannel Legacies, the podcast between your host, Jay, CyberJ112. Hello, that's me, the handsome and amazing me. And we have this piece of shit over here, Garwen Kazul.
Oh, come on now. Everyone knows I'm the beautiful one here.
Sure you are. I think they come from my voice. And that's about it.
Hey, they come for your voice, they for my looks. My looks they can't see. See, I'm so handsome, my looks transcend the invisible screen.
Of course.
I'm also
Alright.
extraordinarily humble.
I'm not even gonna try and fake it. I actually spend quite a bit of time in front of a mirror in the morning, just making sure that I have everything right and pristine.
Yeah. Me
Because, I
personally.
mean, come on.
Yeah.
The stash and the goatee, they don't come naturally.
Yeah, like me personally, I come out of the shower, I take that lotion thing that my mother insists I use, slap it on my face, put oil in the beard, and then just, there we go.
I know that feeling, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, so, everyone, we haven't really been doing one of these episodes in a long time. Well, the last episode should have been last week, but we haven't recorded in a while. I think the last time we recorded was, I think, in February.
Could be. Like, the last time we recorded was the last episode, which to you guys, that obviously, but to us, like, that last episode we recorded was, what, a couple weeks after the one before that?
It was kind of, I think it was about, like, 3 weeks after you got back from your trip to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it really has been a while since we recorded one of these, so we are a little rusty.
Really has.
Let's hope I remember how to edit these together so they actually sound semi-okay.
Oh, yeah. So some things have happened across the world, but one thing in particular...
But before we get to that, if I get a handle on that little fucker, we will have another co-host for next podcast. A little fella known as AFG, Accounting for Games.
That's
shit.
That is a maybe. That is a big maybe.
As I said, if I get a handle on it.
And who knows, maybe I can wrangle Pythax into the shit.
Yeah, that'd be actually pretty cool.
Swan is a no-no.
No.
Like, if you think I'm radical in my beliefs...
Look. If we get Swan here, our channel will get deleted.
No, suddenly we'll actually have to start putting Christian radical in the tags for each of our videos.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, I might be Christian, but he takes the cake to a different level. Like, I was baked in the oven for a bit when it comes to my religion. He was burnt in the oven, and he has made it his personality.
Oh god. When it came out of the oven, everyone wanted to just throw him in a bin because they thought he was a demon from hell. He was so burnt.
And no, like, oh god, like, Swan came out of the womb, like, already preaching gospel, like, John 3:16, for God so loved the world, like, oh, he's my best friend, I love him to death, but I gotta make fun of him here and there, because on TikTok, yes, that's right, people. I did the thing. I got the evil app. I got the Chinese malware that I downloaded straight into my phone.
I have yet to succumb to their tyrannical ways.
But, Swan sends me TikToks all the time. And about 80% of them are always Christian-based. And it's always some preacher, like, preaching about the end of the world and what's gonna happen and how to be a better Christian, how to be a good Christian. And I'm just sitting there like...
That's hilarious.
It's not my personality. But
Yeah. Like
love
me
him to
myself, I don't even have fucking Twitter. Well, I do have a Twitter, but now it's for the porn.
and you see, this is the difference between me and you.
Yeah. Like, the only reason I got Twitter was because I kept seeing links to this Twitter site with all this good porn shit, but I couldn't view it because of the system. I was like, you know what? I'll make an account just to get past this. And even to this day, every time someone sends me a shit, we were just talking about that app. What was that app called someone uses to send you stuff? TikTok. Every time someone sends me stuff like that, I click on it, and I just deal with that system, which it starts muted, then comes up that thing you need to slide, and by the time you do that, the entire thing they sent is already over, and it's going to the next one, so you have to go back and kind of do it again.
You have to do like 15 recaptchas.
Yeah.
Create a new account just to make sure that you're not a robot. You then have to rewatch the video about like 5 times to actually hear it for the first time, because the audio is never the way how it needs to be. It's either too loud or too quiet for you to actually hear it properly.
Yeah. Like I don't have a TikTok, that's the word, TikTok account. So every time it pops up for me, it's as if I never was on there. So it always pops up muted, then comes the slide captcha, and then the thing is always over. And by the time I get past it, it's all booted me to the next video. So I need to go back and kind of need to start over.
Yeah. That's because you're using browser. You're not using the app like you're supposed to on your phone.
I don't want the app. My phone's already almost fucking full. I have too much porn on it.
Delete some of the porn, man.
No, I'll delete some of the memories instead.
No, so I'm not gonna get too like into it, but I do want to say, Garwen, if you don't know, viewing like the same pornography over and over again, it becomes stale to your brain to where it actually stops releasing as much endorphins into your brain.
Yeah, which is why the only type of porn I collect is porn images that I find intriguing, don't think I'll find again, or are semi-forbidden because I think they'll be removed. So yeah, like if anyone opens my porn folder, I'm going to jail.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say Garwen Kazul is lost. Anyone who is thinking that I might be able to, save him from himself and not get him so, like, kind of save him from his porn addiction. That demon is too big for me. I can't conquer it alone.
Hey, I've conquered it multiple times myself, man. Like I've myself have gone months without looking at porn, even masturbating, just because I didn't feel like it.
Good for you.
Like I did it mainly for the first time a couple of years ago because I was actually concerned I might be becoming addicted, but they were surprisingly easy just to not. So I realized I did it just because I wanted to.
How about this? Challenge for the rest of the year. Starting October 13th. 10 days from now. Meaning you can get all of your goo juice out. Until January 1st. No looking at pornography.
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Reading is okay.
Now that's a loophole you're giving me there.
That is a loophole. Reading is okay. Audio is not. Now, the reason I am giving you that one loophole is because some people may know I write smut.
Yes.
I am very much against visual pornography, including hentai.
Yeah.
And
there are studies that show it does do stuff to your brain.
Yeah, visual pornography, it actually does cause the exact same receptors in your brain, be it animated or human. It causes the same receptors in your brain to go off, meaning that you're literally watching someone do an act. and it actually makes you less inclined to want to do that act.
Like, for people that don't understand, basically, you look at this stuff. Chemicals do the stuff in your head. You get too many of those chemicals, you grow a tolerance.
It's the same reason why a lot of
It's also
addicts...
the reason why one Egyptian pharaoh couldn't kill himself when his kingdom was taken over, because he had actually, in order to avoid being assassinated, rendered himself immune to just about every single goddamn poison or venom he could think of by slowly taking more and more doses of it. So when he finally was conquered, he was like, ah shit, I can't kill myself in a painless way.
Alright, man, I guess I have to go sit outside now.
Yeah. It has a really tragic tale for that boy, but yeah.
Yeah. So the whole, like, I'm not gonna go too much into that, but until January 1st, no looking at pornography.
I'm just get some of that out of my system right now.
No audio or visual pornography. Reading, as in literature, is permitted.
Yeah.
However,
it goes to get the spirit of the challenge.
Yeah, it's more so getting the visual, getting the sensory out of your head. Instead, it's using your own mind to create it. You see, I find, and studies actually do show, literature actually invokes signals of lust in your brain, actually causing the endorphins to not rush your system so frantically. It still releases bits of pleasure, but it doesn't rush you to where you start to grow a tolerance to it. Instead, it actually causes you to grow cravings. In other words, literature actually makes you more horny, not less.
Which I find really hilarious, because like that also does explain the horny nun stereotype. Because they, at least back in the day, they weren't allowed to go do that stuff. But a lot of that, especially around the teen ones, kept literature around. It's been found, and they kept reading a lot of that, and which has led to a little stereotype about nuns. Depends on the region, depends on the culture, but that's the one.
I believe it was mostly Northern Frank nuns.
Yeah, could be.
Like ones that were in the northern regions of France.
Yeah. Funnily enough, that this same reasoning also led to the anal is a loophole thing among the Christian community.
God can't see what goes on in the back door.
It's not sex if it's anal. You're not breaking your vow of celibacy.
That is incorrect. I do want to say that is incorrect.
That is incredibly incorrect. But the young, stupid, and the ones who really, really want to believe and don't want to question things won't be looking into that too deeply.
Yeah. So this brings us very unneatly to a casual segue to America. Let's get on topic with America.
Yes. Let us pull the segue here and give everyone whiplash.
So, America, land of the circumcised and uncircumcised. So, I'm just gonna say, I don't think, like, circumcision, let me just say, an uncircumcised penis looks disgusting.
I don't agree. Mine looks awesome.
Note, I grew up in a Catholic household.
So you've seen a lot of it from your priest, I got you.
I walked into that one. No, like, I grew up in a Catholic household, and I wasn't... I will say... I was circumcised, but only because of the hygienic benefits that it actually has.
Like, just to make it clear, like, my stance circumcision, if it's medically necessary, sure, go ahead and do it. If not, like, personally, I don't really support a baby mutilation, but to each their own.
I understand the whole mutilation. Like, it should be like a thing that you undergo when you're a bit older and you can understand what's going on.
Yeah, like and
The thing is,
like with most everything, there's gray area everywhere. With this one, with this one, if it's a medical reason, sure, go mutilate that baby, have fun. But if it's just because you believe it's what this or that or whatever it should be, probably don't. Let's first see if they believe it.
Yeah, so the reason why I think circumcision is alright is, for starters, uncircumcised men actually tend to get urinary tract infections on a higher rate than circumcised.
Yeah.
The reason why is because
most men are idiots, don't know how to wash.
Yeah, a lot of the men's hoods, they don't know how to clean inside.
Yeah.
And
like,
it just gets...
I never understood why. It's like, come on, dude. You do it every single day.
Back.
Just pull it back.
Pull back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you want to make it real simple, just make it a habit to masturbate in the shower.
No. Don't do that. Do not do... Okay, for ethical reasons, I feel like you should say this. People, young men, do not masturbate in the showers, especially not with soap. The reason why is because you will burn.
No, don't use soap.
You will create an irritant on the inside of the shaft. Using the restroom will suck for the next 2 days. It literally irritates, and it causes the inside of your urethra to dry out and crack, causing little fissures that are pretty much, they're not going to bleed, but they're going to be very irritated. Any movement that you make is going to irritate it further. That means for 2 days, using the restroom, taking a leak, is going to suck.
Yeah.
It is going to be incredibly painful. Do not, under any circumstances, do not.
Yeah, like, take it from someone who was 11, stupid, and discovering their sexuality. Do not use soap.
I think I did it when I was 15.
Yeah.
Because
I discovered masturbation about 10, 11.
I was a bit late to the party. I didn't start until I was about 13, 14 years old. And even then, I was like, that feels strange. When I was 14, I finally had... I kind of remember it because when I was 14, I finally had my first orgasm. Nothing happened. I just was like, and it was kind of painful for me at first, because I was like, this doesn't feel right. It felt great, but it just doesn't feel right. And then suddenly realization just dropped on me, and I was like, why am I in so much...
I'm going to hell.
No, I didn't think that. I just thought, why am I in so much pain down there? Because I didn't understand lubrication, so instead, I was just humping a pillow.
Yeah, of course you would.
Fuck yeah.
Like my sexual discovery was, as I said, about 11 or 12, first time discovering masturbation. And then about 12 or 13, I found on my parents on a VHS tapes that they kept in the back of the cabinet.
Oh yeah. You got started on pornography real early in life.
Oh yeah. And they probably realized one of those tapes were a bit lost because I stole it.
You see, you should have been a bit smarter. Replace that VHS tape with another home video.
Ah, yes. Just me going, sorry.
That way they'd never know. Just switch the cases.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, like, that was how I discovered pornography. And about a year or so later, I discovered anal play. Because I was a curious little shit.
I didn't know what pornography really was, and I never really had a desire to do it until one day I went to the public library. And I went to a section on the 4th floor of the library.
Yes.
And I discovered adult novels. And among it was, guess what book?
50 Shades of Grey.
A book that would solidify my kinks in how I conducted myself sexually. It really spoke to me because I finally was able to say, oh, so this is what I'm into. I'm into tying people up.
Yeah.
And then
Just as long as you don't take after the main male lead's personality or their actions, everything's perfect.
Oh, no. Not manipulative, not anything like that. No coercion or blackmail.
Like in the funny thing about 50 Shades of Grey, the author of it has no actual understanding of the BDSM community or anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, she has no clue what the fuck she's writing about, and if you listen to her interviews, it becomes blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Like,
So
the way she seems to think it works is you have to be coerced into the community, effectively.
No. So here's the thing. With BDSM, one of the beginning things that, if ever I'm taking a new sub, one of the very first things that is always presented is the quote-unquote contract. The contract, sometimes it's actually an actual sheet of paper. Other times it is just mutual understanding. It is literally just me and my partner sitting down and saying, this is what I am into, this is what I am not. Are you okay with this? And it takes a good hour to get through everything that the other person is okay with and is not. What you are okay with and what you are not. Yeah. And at the end of the contract, there is a verbal and, in some cases, written consent saying, this person has the ability to do this to me in an act of pleasure and sexual establishment. So,
like, Jay can probably attest that I'm a rather sexual person.
Yes.
Yes.
Very much so.
Like,
God, the amount of memes you sent that are just horny is...
Yeah, totally fun.
I actually, whenever I see that you've sent a meme, I actually have to just not click on it anymore. I just can't click on it.
Yeah. But yeah, like, even I didn't start off that way, you know. I started off like most, horny children discovering sexuality. The main thing that pushed me into being so extremely sexual as I am was mainly in response to trauma. Like, a lot of overly sexual people.
Yeah. My response of being, like, would I consider myself a overly sexual person? No. Do I understand a lot? Yes.
Yeah.
Is that due to trauma? I mean, considering that the amounts of time I've had intimacy with another person, the very first person I ever had sex with was my first wife, and now ex-wife. So my very first time having sex was on my prom night.
Yeah.
And it sucked.
Oh yeah.
Because I had no idea what I was doing.
Bless you.
Like, thank you. I don't want to say that it was awful, but it wasn't good, because I had no idea what I was doing. Okay. I had no idea what I was doing. I constantly felt self-aware of, am I big enough? Am I doing it well enough? Am I doing it hard enough? Am I doing anything right? The good part about it was Haley, she was very vocal about what she liked and what she didn't. And I was a nerd. I studied. And that is when, again, my first time, it was not the best. But I remember putting a hand on her chest and slowly moving that hand up to her neck when she started to really get vocal, as my other hand drifted where I was slamming in. And I was rubbing the doorbell, just knocking it over and over. I just kept ringing the doorbell and wouldn't stop.
So unlike most men, you didn't get lost.
No, like I said, I was a nerd. I studied. I had no idea what I was doing, and I felt self-conscious the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Even when she was being very vocal about, yes, I am enjoying this, I still felt so, and I mean so, like, am I big enough? Am I doing anything right? Am I putting it in at the right angle? No, I have 7. I have 7 inches. That's like
pretty good.
It's pretty good, but at the same time, I got into pornography a bit later.
Wait, hold on.
Where I started to find out.
What was the inches to centimeters again?
"17 centimeters."
Oh, hey, we're about the same size.
Hey, hey, maybe that's why we get along.
Maybe.
Yeah, but no, I got to the point where I was feeling so self-conscious because I was reading and I had seen men that had 12 foot or 12 inches, and I was just like, am I supposed to have a 30 centimeter long schlong?
Yeah. Like in professional pornography and that, the people there, they actively seek out the ones with the more showy bits, because it's visual. And for those that don't have it, they sometimes add on a bit, either in the CGI room or on the stage. So it gives us a skewed perspective on how it's supposed to be.
And on top of that, a lot of the time, those people that go into pornography, a lot of the time, their partners are in pain by having it. Of course, there are size queens and size kings who do enjoy it, and actually do enjoy having something bigger. But a lot of the time, it is very painful, according to most of my partners, who I have tried, and I asked if they. Yeah, I see it, Garwen. I have tried, and I have asked very seriously if it is okay if I insert something that is larger than myself. And they would be like, okay, that's fine. And it's normally a toy. Like, note, men, do not, and I mean do not feel like you can't compete with a toy. You're not there to compete with the toy. The toy is not competition. You know why? Because the toy doesn't, sure, it can tickle her insides, but it can't tickle her. It can't make her laugh. It can't make her cry. It can't make her feel like she's on, well, actually, it can make her feel like she's on cloud 9, but not like you can in the best way possible.
Like, take it from someone who uses a lot of these toys himself, because, let's be honest, they're good.
Yeah.
There really is, that's nothing like simply, you're still doing it yourself.
Yes.
You know when anything's coming. You know how hard or how fast. You know all of this. There is just something to not knowing and not having full control. If only that.
Along with that, it's the emotional attachment of a partner that you have that truly, it sends them over the edge. Yeah. So, men, use the tools that are given to you. Sure, you can call them her toys. Guess what? They're your tools. Use them. Like, seriously, I've truly never understood. Like, if you are a bit, say, under-given in the genital department, guess what? Welcome to the club. I'm not part of it, but welcome to the club of tens upon millions of people who are in the exact same boat, and I can almost guarantee you, all of them are using the same tools.
Yeah, like think of it this way: the average, what was it, 5-6 inches, depending on the country.
The average penis size here in America is 5.6 inches. The average penis size for the person who Googles average penis size is 4.6 inches.
Yeah, like, and I take it from just the average. That means half the population is below it.
Yes. Note, people can like kind of get onto us because both of us are a bit above average, and we're like, oh, well, it must feel great being above average. Well, of course it's easy for you to please a woman because you're above average. You have that. Like, I don't think you understand. Even when
I'll be honest with you. Sometimes being a little above average is a little of a hindrance because you can actually hurt the partner. So you have to. There are partners who enjoy, like, you know, the slam. There are others that like it more gently, and then there's those that want to feel your pelvis touch theirs. With your size, you can't always get there.
So here's my problem. My second ever partner, Gabriella. She was the person who I met when I moved here back to Texas after the divorce, after everything happened. And me and her, we just started going at it. Like, we met at a club. Everything was going well. I was a few drinks deep. I was wearing my punk. She was wearing her punk. Everything was going well. We're going at it back at her apartment. And then I changed the position to pile driver. I went past into her womb. And she was in pain by that. Because she apparently had a depth of 5 inches.
Yeah.
And apparently, it didn't feel good for her. So yeah. You okay there, Garwen?
Yeah, just looking some stuff up.
What you looking up there?
I remember people saying that it's impossible to penetrate the womb, with others saying that it is, and I got curious.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. It's apparently not normally supposed to be possible, but there are exceptions out there.
Yes, it's not. Note, she was a bit. Yeah. But
it really, like, this topic really is a weird one for a lot of people listening. Thankfully, the title will give you a warning. Unlike us, we didn't plan to talk about this.
I was planning to talk about something very different.
Yeah. I don't know how we got here, but it might have been my fault.
I think it was. No, I was ready from the very start. No, I was ready at the very start, and you stopped me from talking about the F-35 Raptor. Come on. All right. Well, talking about wrecking into someone's womb, let's talk about the plane that got wrecked in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
Next to Indiantown.
God, I love these podcasts.
Good too. Alright, we're gonna have to put a warning saying that this is gonna be a very sexual episode. Oh god, talk Jay and Garwin sex education.
Jay and Garwen podcast gone sexual.
Gone wild. Hey, I think we found the title. Gone wild, gone sexual.
Ah, beautiful.
Jay gone wild. Oh god. Cyber smut.
Yeah. Still, though, I do have to say it. Like, and despite me being the more sexual one among us,
Yeah.
I just realized Among Us is still a meme, isn't it? Has that died down yet? Probably has. But
yeah, you're being sus right now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I do realize that despite that, I'll be honest, you probably have more experience with that partner than me. I've only had 3 partners in my life, and only one of those was long term.
I would agree with you. I wouldn't agree with you if this was 3 years ago, because even then I would still have only had one partner.
Yeah.
3 years later, in 2023, I have now had about 8 partners, including 2 guys.
Yeah.
And both guys, one of them was uncircumcised, and it was nice, and I enjoyed it. The other guy was uncircumcised, and just looking at it, I was just...
Yeah, you found the wrong guy. Like, come on, man. There's a reason they say penises come in all shapes and sizes. They're like snowflakes.
This guy was a snowflake. No. So he was I think I've said this to you before, but the idea of femboys. I'm not gonna say that I hate them, but they annoy me. And the reason why is because think of catfishing.
Yeah.
Like, if
I believe you've told me this story before.
Yeah, if you're going out looking for a girl, and you're wanting to go home with a girl that night, you're not feeling in the mood for going home with a guy, you're in the mood for a girl. You're in the mood to lick a kitty, you're not there to be staring at a nice wolf. So...
You're not there to be staring at the one-eyed snake.
Exactly. So you go in and you're just like, okay, this is gonna be fine. Meet a nice looking girl. Everything is going well. Everything's going good. And then you're like, hey, do you want to like go back out? Like, do you want to like have another date? And everything is going well. You go out for that date. Everything's going well. And then you're like, your place or mine. They never indicate that their gender is male. And in fact, several times they actually refer to themselves as female.
Yeah. Like,
you get into
those
bed,
people we refer to as assholes.
Traps. Assholes, traps, yeah.
Well, and traps is more it's more a media term than anything.
And you see, I then get in the bed, everything's going well, and then I notice they're tucked. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm out. And note, I'm pan. I have dated guys.
Yeah.
The problem there being, I was in the mood for something. Think of it like this. If you go out of your way to say, if you're out there on a dating site and you're wanting to meet let's say a white man.
Well, let's put it in the way most people understand. Let's say you go to a steakhouse. You want a nice grilled steak, you know? You go there, all the menu options are steaks and whatnot, and you order steak, and then you get a beautifully crispy, clean chicken. It's beautiful. If you had ordered this, you would be so happy right now. But
exactly.
You wanted steak.
You wanted steak. Yeah. That is pretty much how it happened. Yeah. I would have been fine with it at any other time if they had just told me from the start, hey, I'm actually a guy. I just like dressing like this. And I would have been like, actually, that's fine.
Yeah.
But no,
like
they
me
decided
myself,
to lie.
I really love the femboy type, you know, that body type, those clothing. I love those types of people. They're beautiful.
More power to you.
Yeah, but one thing I do not like is I wouldn't say misdirection as much as dishonesty.
Catfishing.
Yes.
Just call it catfishing.
Catfishing, sure. I don't like that because I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, the main thing that really puts that off for me is the fact that they're putting themselves in active danger by doing so, because there's a lot of people out there that do not respond well to it.
Who are transphobic.
Yeah, and if you wait until you're in bed and they pull down your pants to then go, oh hey, I have a dick, you're in a really vulnerable position, probably in their own house where they know where everything big, heavy, and blunt is.
Or not big, heavy, and blunt, or small, sharp, and dangerous.
Yeah. Or, something else that goes pew-pew. There's a lot of fucked up people out there, and you need to be careful.
Such as the thing I keep in this case here.
Yeah. Like, you need to be careful with this. Sure, like, pulling a prank like this can be fun, sure. Just try to make sure you're pulling it on the type of person that would enjoy it, instead of just any random ass person, because
think of
you're
it
putting
like
yourself in unnecessary danger.
Sometimes I'm just wanting to go to the store and buy a shirt. I don't need it gift wrapped for me in a nice pretty bow and tie. I don't need it gift wrapped. Just give me the shirt. If I am going out looking for a shirt, I'm looking for a shirt. If you happen to be gift wrapping it for me, perfect, that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with it. But if I'm out there looking for milk, I don't want a shirt at that moment. I want milk. And if you're gift wrapping me the milk, great, that's fine, that's perfect. But if I unwrap the gift and it's a shirt when I needed milk.
Yeah. Though in that situation, if someone takes that metaphor literally, someone should say you should get your eyes checked.
Whatever.
But yeah, like, shit is fucked.
It does. I've met a couple femboys who are actually really nice, really chill people. One of them is currently a friend of mine. And I will often, bitch to them about how much I, hate some femboys. And they agree with me. And they're like, dude, the big thing that I hate about my own community is the amount of assholes there are that just want to be trolls.
Yeah.
There are so many gremlins who are sitting in a chair thinking, how can I troll the straights today? And then I'm just like, wait, they just try and troll straights? And then he's like, kind of. You see, a lot of the people who are femboys are bisexual or pan or are gay themselves. And all that they're trying to do is just trying to troll people who are straight, not trying to troll their own gender or their own sexuality. And I'm just like, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
the person who did it to me probably thought I was straight, which really annoys me.
I can imagine. So effectively, lesson of the day: don't be an asshole. Everyone's already got one. Be special. Be honest.
Yeah. Just, we all have that asshole side to us. We can all bend over and present it. But just don't. For once in your life, just... There's this whole thing going on right now that I've noticed in the media as well. Have you heard the if they go low, go lower type of thing going on?
No, I actually haven't heard of that.
It's this whole thing on Reddit where, if someone, it's kind of petty revenge, but it gets out from being petty revenge to being, you are ruining this entire person's life for them just making a slight passing statement that you could have just forgotten about within a couple of years. In this instance,
so it basically So it's basically taking the Scandinavian style of revenge. If they kill one of your family members and their bloodline.
Yeah, kind of. It's pretty much like the whole feudalism age. Like, if someone takes a cow, you kill their family.
Yeah.
If someone kills your family, you kill their village. If someone kills your village, you then raid their entire nation and try and eliminate as many people as you can.
Which also brings me in people. Do you want... Here's something you should know about revenge. Us Nordic people know a thing or two about it. It is literally in our culture. It's what we do. It's what we were grown by. It's very simple. If someone wrongs you or kills a member of your family, you were honor and duty bound to seek vengeance, which then eventually led to an unspoken rule. If you go to kill someone, make sure you kill the entire bloodline with it. Because if you miss a single individual, they're gonna come back and end your bloodline.
They're going to take vengeance upon you.
Yes.
It's called feudalism, and it sucks.
Well, actually, the Scandinavians did that. Well, I wouldn't say they did that first, as that would be Stone Age times. But they took it, made it an art.
Yeah. So
there's a reason we're some of the nicest people in this day and age, nation-wise, country-wise, because we got it out of our system, and we know where it led us.
So the thing is like I said, this whole thing with if they go low, go lower. Like nowadays, it's a thing of someone will make a passing remark, and I'll agree. Like some of these remarks, I will admit they're bad. Someone will say, "Oh, my boyfriend, like he cheated on me," and I'm like, "Oh, that's awful. Like here's what you do for revenge." There, you literally leave him and sue him for all he's worth. If he has caused any true damages to you. If it's emotional damage, literally just tell all of his friends and family and just be done with it.
Yeah, trust me, when friends and family will do the rest for you. You don't need to do anything after
they'll
that.
do the entire thing for you. But for some reason, these people are then staying with this person for months, gathering evidence about every little thing that this person is doing, going to their job, putting it on their resume, going to a court judge, getting everything they can to ruin this person's life. Some people have actively created scenes in which they look like an abuse victim just so that way their partner is then put on a sex offender watch list and will be blacklisted from certain jobs for the rest of their lives.
Like, let me put it straight. Your feelings are not worth driving someone to suicide.
Note, if you were gonna... Okay, Garwen, what you said is a bit dangerous there. Let me clarify something that Garwen just said. Your feelings they do matter.
Yes.
But should your feelings cause another person to commit suicide, those feelings are not worth it. They are not worth causing someone else to lose their life. Your life matters as well, but life matters. All lives matter. Yeah. All life matters. It doesn't matter if they are a Actually, no, Garwen, I can't say this with a straight face. I'm being a hypocrite here because I believe that pedophiles deserve to burn. I believe that if you are an outed pedophile, there is no reason for you to be kept alive. We should go to your house, burn you at the stake, and then spit on your grave.
Probably. But yeah, let me take the mic back from Jay there. The reason I didn't feel like clarifying is because we already have a culture that overvalues feelings to a point that it's detrimental to society. So Jay needs to go for a little second, so I guess I'll be talking about those femboys.
Don't you dare. Actually, just take free reign. I'll be right back.
Jane needs to go for a sec. I'll try to keep the talk going. So, like in a year. But yeah, like as I was saying, like we live in a. Oh, excuse me. We live in a day and age where feelings have become extremely overvalued. Like, I do agree that there was a time where we did too much of the whole feelings don't matter thing, you know? Like, there was a time where we were all just, oh, words can't hurt me, just bear with it, just thick skin until, you know, people just throw themselves to suicide trying to bear with it all. But we have overcorrected in the worst possible way, where nowadays, if you just tell someone to smile that didn't want to hear it, suddenly you're a criminal. And funnily enough, that's actually how it is in some countries now, and it's just wrong. It really is. Like, it's an abuse of power legally on the legal side. And I do not agree with it. Like, just because someone says something you don't like does not give you the right to send them to jail. Like, there's a reason why we have a legal system and a society. Those are two different things. If someone is an absolute fucking asshole to you, they won't face legal penalties. They'll face societal penalties as society corrects itself. That's how it is. You should not fear going to jail because you told a cunt that she's being a cunt. Or an asshole that they're being an asshole. You should not fear going to jail for that. If you're wrong, society will simply call you the asshole and you'll feel bad. It'll correct itself. If you're right, then you've made an asshole aware that they're an asshole.
I completely agree in that aspect because, for starters, take the American legal system. It fucking sucks. It no longer is about legality because nowadays people are guilty until proven innocent. People can swear by a person and say he is innocent all they like, but a single false allegation will cause the man to be guilty for the rest of time. Such as Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh is a current U.S. Supreme Court justice. He was appointed by Trump. He was actually the very first justice appointed by Trump. Here's where things get interesting. When he was appointed, a person from his college, his university years, came out of the woodwork and said, he raped me. And here's the thing. All of Kavanaugh's friends, family, teachers, everyone testified Kavanaugh would have never done that. The amounts of time that was given and listed literally, well, I won't say proves, but it makes it very shaky that he would have ever done it. Literally, at the end of the day, it was a he said, she said type of thing. And it was a massive thing because suddenly everyone was coming out of the woodwork screaming, believe the woman, she's right, believe all women. Yeah. Even though at the end of the day, literally everyone who was both who gave moral and ethical testimonies of Brett Kavanaugh saying, as a person, he would never do that. At the party, he would have never done that. Why? Because we had pretty much accounted for him the entire night. Sure, some of us got drunk that night, but Brett would never drink that much so to where he couldn't remember. And on top of that, the entire time, for over 2 decades, the woman who accused... The funny thing is, I can't even remember the woman's name. That is how little memory I have of her. I can remember Brett Kavanaugh because he actively cried because his daughters were getting bullied in school. His daughters were getting bullied in school for being the father of for having their father be a rapist.
Yeah. Like, that's something people don't seem to understand. Like, yeah, so let's say you don't like this person or something or other, and you want to make them suffer. You put it forth a false accusation to make their life miserable. Something people don't always take into account. Their family, their children, and probably their siblings' children will suffer for it. Rarely will it be them who suffer too much, because usually it's to the rich and wealthy that this goes, or the ones of celebrity status. They can bear with it. They don't even have to care about it. But their children don't have the experience with this shit. And now they're being bullied for it. So congratulations. You may have just ruined a child's childhood.
But like I said, along with Brett Kavanaugh's daughters, his entire life had been turned into a massive court case. The entirety of America started looking into his private life. His entire privacy was taken away because a woman accused him of being a rapist, which in the court of law, he was proven innocent. And of course, it was a massive thing saying, oh, the court system, it's against the women. This is why we have feminism, because it's systematic oppression against the women. This was literally made by the patriarchy. Even though most of the people who testified for Brett Kavanaugh and literally said he would never do it were friends of his from that party who were female.
Yeah.
But for some reason, a woman who all of the people said, I kind of remember her, but she was this whole thing of, in the background, no one would have ever talked to her. She was just there. She wasn't really memorable, but she was there.
Yeah.
In other words, the only thing about her that they could remember was that she was there. Not even her name, not anything about her.
And from
just that
what it sounds like they could barely recall that she may have been there. I haven't heard of this case, I'll be honest. I'm not too in tune with this type of stuff.
This was back in, I believe it was 2017 that this occurred.
Yeah. But funny thing, you brought up the whole but then the justice system is against the women. From everything I've ever heard about the justice system in America, it's always been heavily favoring women in almost every situation I've ever gotten to hear about. Did that change or something? I haven't heard of it changing.
Hold on, say that last part again.
I don't really look into politics too much. More legal things or stuff like that, I just don't care. Yeah. But from everything that's gotten through and to me that I've ever heard about the American legal system, it's always been a heavily favoring the woman in every situation. It's like let's say a man and a woman are in a court. Man has I don't know, and let's put it just in gaming terms for some people, yeah? Man has 5 defense, woman starts out with 15. That seems to be the default value in most things, then evidence based it here or there.
So, yes and no. So, here's the thing. With me, I finally, after so long, because I'm not making any income, I finally made an appeal to the Vermont divorce office, saying, hey, can I please stop paying alimony to Haley, because I don't have a job anymore. I have a sponsorship. I'm going to college to get a degree so I can go back to getting a job, but I do not have a job. And after over a year of not having a job anymore, they finally are fine, you can stop paying her 10% of your savings. And I'm like, thank you. Because what it's supposed to be is a portion of your paycheck goes to the other person until they get on their feet again. And here's the thing. Haley has a job. She's on her feet. But they forced me to pay alimony. She didn't even want it. They forced me to pay alimony. So yeah.
It's honestly a fuck system. What was it? Wasn't it something like the state gets a little bit of everything you pay?
Yep.
Yeah,
With
no
child
wonder.
support, they get paid, I believe it's 15% of the money that goes through child support. The court
No
system
wonder
takes.
it's so prevalent over there.
Yep.
It really is.
That's-
Just really fucked.
And the child will rarely see any of that money. Even
yeah.
going into their food or clothing, they will
Well, yeah, I mean, the
see
state has no incentive to see whether it actually reaches the child, only that you pay it.
Yep. A
It
lot of the time,
doesn't care where it goes, from what I understand.
a lot of the time, it will go to the care holder. And the care holder, a lot of the time, doesn't care about their child. Note, I will say, a lot of the time, having a marriage and having a divorce when you have a child, it destroys the child. It destroys the child. Their childhood is gone. So, and some people can argue, I'd much rather have my parents divorce instead of living the way I did, because there was constant fights in my family. Here's the thing.
Studies don't support you.
Most of the time, and I mean most of the time, statistically, 80% of children of divorce, 80% of children of divorce, children from foster parents, children from adopted homes, fall into drugs, crime, and the prison system. The prison system, I believe I've already talked about before.
Yeah, you have.
Might have to touch up on a little bit later again.
Yeah, possibly. Like, here's something, but for those that will go jumping on us for the hacking on single mothers, take into account, we're not talking about single mothers. It's regardless of which parent gets it, or even if any parent gets the child.
It is the child.
They're like, the statistics for how the percentile is to a degree where if the child is with a single parent of any kind, you can basically say, yeah, they're gonna go to crime.
The children oftentimes feel like they don't belong somewhere, so they often try and rebel against the establishments that made them feel as if they don't belong. That sense of rebellion occurs in their adult and teenage life and adolescent life until they finally are brought into the establishment or otherwise prison systems, and they finally find out what it means to have a power trip. Because they have the sense of, I don't belong here because I didn't feel like I was loved, because I feel as if my parents didn't love me enough so they couldn't stay together. My parents didn't love me enough so they gave me up for adoption. My parents didn't love me enough, which is why they beat me. Those children who are born in trauma, I am not saying that those children are deserving of anything that has coming to them. No. They do not deserve the lives that they were given whatsoever. But what they do deserve is the punishments that they occurred themselves later on in life, because they had opportunities, every opportunity to say, I am not going to be another part of the statistic. I am going to turn my life around, turn the other cheek, and become a better person. Yeah. I'm going to not contact the family that never once made me feel like I was welcomed. They will not be welcomed into my life, and I will make something of myself. I will not fall. Instead, I will pick myself up and build a tower, one where I can see anyone else who needs help and run to them. And if they ask for help, I will help them. But no.
Something people don't seem to understand. An explanation for why something happens is not an excuse for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, wait. Oh shit, we had a topic we wanted to discuss. I forgot about it.
Yeah. Hey, so while we're on the topic of the American government and the American legal system, this is a perfect segue to our topic for today, which I've been wanting to talk about since I first heard about it.
What is this, the fourth try to segue to it?
The F-35 Raptor that went missing over the Pennsylvanian airspace. So here's the thing. I know a lot of people who are in the military, and who were former military. Thankfully, being an electrician gave me a good, a really good development into seeing the military and what it does to its people. And I'm just gonna say, most of the people who are former military and went into construction or went into the trades, they all have the same thing to say. It is a dog and pony show. It is a horse and pony show. No one is actually there to do anything right or listen to anything. The people who go into the military come from 4 camps. 1, you have the people whose family was in the military, and it's just military tradition. They're wanting to go do their part for their country. Great. Their father was in the army, their grandfather was in the army, their great-grandfather was in the army. Great. More power to you. Second, they're the son of a politician.
Yeah.
Be it state legislation, federal legislation, they're just the son of a politician. Child of politicians. They go into the army, they go into the Air Force, they go into being an officer for 3 reasons. Now, you already have the 4 camps, but you have 3 reasons for the officer. 1, their parents told them to do so, because it makes them look better. Oh wait, that's the only reason that actually matters. The other 2 are, they're trying to escape their family, and the other one is, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life, but I have a sense of patriotism to my country because my father or mother was a politician, so I went into the military. Congratulations. Yeah. But the 3rd camp of people who join the military. Misfits who have no place of belonging. So they join the military to find a sense of belonging. Because it's their country, they belong in their country, right? That sense of belonging is built on forced trauma. The people who are in the military, they are treated like garbage until they begin to form traumatic bonds with the people around them. Because they underwent trauma together, they turn to those people every chance. Like, anytime something bad happens, they turn to those people. The people who are now tradesmen who came out of the military, they say, I still contact the people who I knew in the military. If something bad happens in my life, I don't talk with my wife, I talk with those people. And my therapist has been trying to get me to talk to my wife and talk to her instead of talking to my battle buddies. And the reason why is because the battle buddies were people who they went to war with, and they suffered the same trauma, and they feel like they can talk about anything together.
Yeah. Like, trauma bonding is a surprisingly efficient way to get hundreds of thousands of people to bond with their specific groups in that big-ass army category, so they can work together and hopefully not abandon each other when shit hits the fan.
Mm-hmm. And
it's horrific, but it works.
The 4th camp of people who go into the army are people with something to prove. They're not misfits. They're not there looking for a sense of belonging. They're there to prove something. They're there to prove that they're the biggest guy on the block. They're the strongest, the smartest, the fastest. They have something to prove. And according to Tom, a 62-year-old bastard who I knew while working as an electrician, those kids, and they are kids, they are children who go into the army because they peaked in high school, they were on the football team, they were the jocks who pushed around people because they won state championships, they didn't need anyone to tell anyone anything. They had the sports cars that would be driving around base. They would drive sports cars around base, and when they got home, they wouldn't be recognized because that sense of superiority would be destroyed while in PT. It would be destroyed. The reason why? Drill instructors, drill sergeants. They don't care what you did in high school. This ain't high school anymore, Buttercup. You're in my turf now.
We've all seen the movies, we've all seen the videos. Drill instructors are savage, and I thank the Lord that they exist for a lot of people out there.
The reason why is because one of the guys, Tom actually, he was one of the guys who always told stories about being in the military. And one of his stories that he told was one day he had a Dear Tom message. Now, a Dear Tom or Dear Joe or Dear Perry, what it is it's a letter that you get in the mail from your significant other. And it's essentially a letter saying, I'm leaving you because I never see you anymore. He got a Dear Tom. His drill instructor came into his dorm, came into the barracks, found him. Lights were out, but he was sitting on his bed. He wasn't in his bed. He was sitting on his bed, crying. The drill instructor first yelled, "Why are you up and about when it is lights out? You are to be in your bed." Tom hands him the letter. Drill instructor reads the entire letter, hands it right back, and just says, "Get your battle buddy. We're going for a walk." They then go for a 20-mile ruck march. All their gear, everything. They go to a national park and they camp for 4 days. The entire time, the drill instructor is no longer a drill instructor, and when he retired, he and Tom became friends. They formed a bond, not through trauma, but through the drill instructor was a paternal figure to Tom, while he was just a young dumbass in PT. But yeah.
Like, from what I understand, there are two types of drill instructors. Those that actually care, and those that just want to have power over people. There could be more types, but that's
so
just my understanding.
Right, and you're not. So again, this is coming from stories I have not been in the military.
Yeah,
I am not speaking
don't
from
get me wrong. From what I understand, the ones that care are the vast majority. But there's always an asshole in every basket.
Yeah. So you're right and you're not. So the people who, so the drill instructors who you say are the ones who are there for power, they are knocked out very quickly. They're normally the younger drill instructors or the really old mean ones who have just, they've been given one too many tasks. They've been given one too many platoons to train. And the people who are mean and just there to have a power trip, they're young. They're normally people who they got to this position and they're like, I finally have the ability now to make people like this. And then there's the other camp of people, like you said, the people who actually care.
Yeah.
You will never know that they care. You will never know that they have any feeling whatsoever towards the actual soldiers under their command.
And that is the proper way to do it, because you're not supposed to know they care unless it's, like, for example, with Tom, when it's important that they care. Or, well, important that they show they care.
Part of me, when I was younger, I actually thought about joining the military when I was younger. Yeah. And then I was like, nah.
Like,
no, the reason why
we've all had it. Iceland doesn't have a military, and even I've thought about joining the military.
Oh, yeah. No, but I thought about joining the military for two reasons. One, I just thought, hey, who knows? Maybe it might teach me something. Teach me how to camp outside. Turns out I already know how to camp. But we get to the military, and now that we understand, the military has a bunch of people who are in the army for different reasons. You have the people who are there just because of military tradition. 2, you have the people who wanted to be officers, the people who are the children of politicians. 3, the people who wanted a place that they felt like they belonged. And 4, the kids who thought they were all that, so they went to join the military because they thought they were all that. And those are the people who join the military. And every person who is in the military or was in the military will tell you, officers don't know shit. There is a group of people in the military who know more than even the generals. They know what's going on in their platoons more than the generals. They know what's going on in the platoons more than the sergeants. And that is the E4. The person who has climbed up the ranks just enough to be seen with respect, but not given an official leadership role. And that is why the E4 Mafia exists. So, here's the thing. With the military being the dog and pony show that it is, no one respects military leaders. No one does.
Yeah.
Because right now, our military... drill instructors are no longer able to do what they should do to get people to be whipped into shape. Nowadays, people are now allowed to be a bit overweight while in the military, or a bit underweight while in the military, which is not healthy. 2, there is now sensitivity training that drill instructors have to go through. They can't say certain things. They can't call people certain things anymore. And again, that's kind of stupid because
like their whole purpose is to say the worst things they could say to you so that you get semi-used to some kind of abuse.
It's literally there so that way, like, if you can take my words, if you can take, like, what I'm going to say to you, you can take a bullet. Because you're going to laugh it off. You're going to have the worst humor. You're going to have the darkest humor possible. Your humor is going to be darker than the skin on Usain Bolt.
I love that.
Thank you. Like, God, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh no, go right ahead. You're the one who has to pass for it.
God damn. I'm not black. I'm Hispanic.
I know, but do you think the people who yell about that actually know the difference?
Yes, I do. Because apparently now we're not Latinos or Latinas. No, we're Latinx.
You're Latinx. You're like twinks.
Die.
You're like twinks, but Latinx.
Die. Anyone who calls us Latinx, die. Just die.
For the YouTube censors, he's not advocating for self-harm or death. He's just being an emotional asshole.
No, I'm telling them to die. I don't care how they do it. Like, they can...
Jay, the audience knows we don't mean it when I say that, but YouTube doesn't. We need to trick YouTube.
Go join the military. Go join an active battlefield.
Yes, that's how you tell someone to kill themselves without anyone knowing.
Go join an active battle.
Oh, I know the best way to tell people to go kill themselves, but I don't think YouTube would agree with it. It might cancel us.
Go deprive yourself of oxygen.
No. I know a better way. Go join an active battlefield on Russia's side. Oh, this video might get taken down because of that comment, but for YouTube, that's a fucking joke.
Nah, there's way worse things being said here on YouTube. This video is not.
I know there's worse things being said on YouTube, but YouTube has taken an active side because the public is taking a side in this conflict.
True, because a bunch of people can't take a fucking joke anymore. But speaking of that, so the military, it's a dog and pony show. No one respects anyone because, I mean, literally the public has looked at the military and said, hey, you're abusing those kids. You're abusing those people. They're sensitive. And the military is like, yeah, we know they're sensitive. We're trying to knock that out of them so that way they can actually do their job, which is be soldiers. You know, take lives to protect other lives. Take the few so that way they can protect the many.
Like, basically, it's a situation of, you can't be saying bad things to those kids. They might get their feelings hurt. Yeah, we're trying to hurt their feelings so that when they go to a battlefield, they don't die.
Exactly. That way, if someone on the battlefield dies in front of them, they'll actually be like, okay, my willpower is stronger than this. I can deal with this. I've been through shit. I have felt like shit. This is nothing. Note, people, being called the wrong gender, I'm gonna just say it. Don't you dare fucking say, I am a soldier because every day I get called something I am not. I get called a man when I identify as a female. No. Look, if you get called a man, if you identify as a female, guess what? No one gives a shit. No one does. Don't say that you're a soldier, someone who actively goes onto a battlefield and gets shot at. Someone who actively is going through some of the toughest shit that is possible because they're being deprived of seeing friends, family, anything. They're deprived of normal food. They're deprived of good sleeping conditions. They're deprived of sleep. They get paid shit, and on top of all of that, they're more than likely going to be addicted to painkillers within their first year of being in the military because the amount of training that they have to go through, it is destroying their bodies. So please, do not think for a second that just because you get called, that you get catcalled on the street every night, that you just so happen to have someone misgender you here and there, that you're a soldier. You are not. Online, on Reddit, on TikTok, on Instagram, there was a video of someone saying, we fought, we stood for our flag, what did you do for yours? And it was this person talking about the pride flag. And
no,
every
you
person...
didn't fight for the pride flag. A lot of you died for it, sure. But you didn't fight for it.
No, a lot of people, a lot of our community complained for our flag.
Yeah.
And nowadays it is now flown with pride every month.
Yeah.
And I just look at it and I just think,
It's like, guys, we've already won.
It's meaningless. And
yeah. Like,
it becomes a thing
we
of...
won to such a degree that nowadays to say you're under the flag is embarrassing. That's how much you won. You won so much that we don't care anymore.
It's why I hate Pride Month, because why do we have it? Like, seriously, why do we have an entire month for people to just get attention? Is that all it's there for? For us to get attention? For being what we are? For just being born a certain way? Why isn't there White Month? There's Black History Month. Why isn't there White History Month?
Well, you know for a fact the Western world would not accept that concept existing.
God,
you might be able to get it in China or Japan, maybe. Actually.
Maybe. Like, why don't we have Oceanic History Month? Or Asian History Month? Or European History Month? Or African History Month? But no, we have Pride Month. Where is Movember? November. If any of you know, Movember is a charity which discusses men's mental health. November is actually the month for men's mental health. It is literally the month of mental awareness.
Yeah.
But did you know that it is?
gives a shit.
Did you actually know that the reason why we have the No Nut November challenge is actually because the month of November was at the same year that the No Nut November thing came out. It was then announced that November was going to be Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Oh, I love that. Also,
So,
here's a funny thing. Here's a funny thing about November in Iceland. Here in Iceland, they call it Mottumars, which basically means grow out your mustache. In the support.
Yeah. So here's the great thing. Men's mental health is literally being overshadowed by a fucking meme. It is literally being overshadowed by a fucking meme that is literally saying, hey, don't jerk off during November.
Yeah. Like, I guarantee you, everyone listening, whether now, in the future, in the past, or some time traveler from some fucking thing, whatever, you will have heard of No Not November. Mm-hmm. But I cannot guarantee you'll have even heard of the concept of November being a men's mental health month.
No, I didn't know about it until I actually looked it up, and it shocked me. But here's the cool part. June, the entire month of June, Pride Month. In the months of April and May, there are actual countdowns for when we get to celebrate Pride Month. Note, celebrate Pride Month. We have an entire month for here in America, we celebrate Pride for an entire month.
Yeah.
Memorial Day, the day that we celebrate and remember and honor the people who died in combat. It is a day where on that day, there is a 2-hour moment of silence that is held in a cemetery, in the Arlington Cemetery. Over the grave of the unnamed soldier, there is not a word to be heard near that grave. On that day, there are countless amounts of honors that the military goes through to put on those days. But yet, for some reason, we keep talking about the F-30. We keep talking about this. We're never going to get to the F-35 Raptor. Next episode! Anyway.
Next episode, the F-23 Raptor.
The F-35 Raptor. Let's do
35.
this. Yeah, so... But yet, for some reason, Pride Month gets a month, while the dead soldiers get a day. Veterans, active soldiers, veterans, get a day here in America. And they're okay with having a day. They say, I'd love a month, but I'm okay with a day. At least I get recognized. And those national days of awareness, most of the time, they're just walked over. And Pride Month is celebrated way more. Labor Day, a day that is literally made so that way people who are in work, it is supposed to be a day where no job is open. It is a day where it is literally made so that way everyone can be with their families. Anyone who wants to work can, but they cannot be forced to work on Labor Day. Yeah. That means people who are servers at restaurants, grocery stores, construction workers, no one can be forced to work that day. They cannot be scheduled to work that day. It is a day off for everyone. And yet, for some reason, no one is ever punished for forcing their workers to work on Labor Day. And several people, they appeal that they cannot work on Labor Day. They don't want to work on Labor Day, and they are still forced to work on Labor Day. But for some reason, we can't skip Pride Month. We can skip days that are literally made to better people's lives and, make people who feel like they can't catch a break. But Pride Month, an entire month of celebrating people who in our country already have the best treatment we could ever wish for. Sure. Yeah. And people can say, "Oh, but it's systemic." Really?
Maybe once it was.
Gay marriage is allowed. Like, what more do you want? Like, I'm sorry. Gay marriage is allowed. What more do we want? What more?
Like here's the thing, people. Maybe it was systemic once, and even then I'm not sure. Like, I haven't looked into it. It was definitely, a thing where, gay people were brutalized and whatnot for a while. But nowadays, it's gotten to a point where, think about it. We have complained so much that we have managed to make the biggest religion in the world bend its own values and traditions just because we want to be included there. People, marriage, it's not... You have to realize and remember, marriage, it's a Christian thing. Wholeheartedly. It's a Christian ceremony to promise yourself to, your partner and God.
And nowadays we do it for tax purposes.
Yes. Like, it's not supposed to be this ultimate expression of love. No, anywhere, unless you are 100% Christian, you're not supposed to give a shit about it. Like, majority of human history, almost no one even knew what the fucking marriage was. Sure, you got together, you promised to each other, what, blah, 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 blah. But if you weren't Christian, you weren't really supposed to give a shit. You probably didn't even hear about it. Nowadays, it's near universal. If you're not doing it, you're doing something wrong. And yes, there are other religions and other cultures that have things like marriage that we have translated to mean marriage because it's close enough. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, it is an inherently Christian thing, and we have all managed to make Christianity bend the fuck over, take it up the ass, and go, all right, you can get married too.
Note, it's gotten so much so to the point where I, as a pansexual, get called homophobic because I just say I don't celebrate Pride Month because I feel like it's an entire month of just pandering and whining.
Yeah.
And I've been called homophobic because of that. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Just because I don't want to celebrate a month where a bunch of companies can pretty much treat my community like garbage and treat us as if we're just mindless consumers. Note, I will watch as on social media, countless, and I mean countless, businesses and corporations change their logos to being the pride flag. Yeah. The United States of America, our White House, our Capitol, put the pride flag at the same height as the American flag, which in our country, in our own laws, our flag is never to be flown at the same height as any other flag. Yep. It is never supposed to be lower or at the same height than any other flag. The only state, note, state in the United States that allows or is allowed to fly their flag at the same level, not higher, at the same level as the United States flag is Texas. Recognizing that Texas was once a country, but chose to join the United States for both economic stability and for cultural stability.
Yeah, like, think about this, people. The fact that the gay flag, the pride flag, can be flown at the same height as the America's flag, it can be viewed as the pride movement being as powerful as the state of America. It is so accepted that just saying anything kind of bad about it can get your life ruined, even if you don't mean it in any kind of bad way. It has turned around from gay people being abused and killed once to nowadays they're the tyrannical leaders now, if they so wish to be. They're not, thankfully they're not actively abusing it, but if they got together and got some leader somewhat among themselves, they could do so much chaos in the American legal system.
Oh, hold on, Garwen. I do want to see if I can find a video, and I'm gonna show you after the session today.
Yeah.
But there is a content creator on TikTok who is how do I say this? Bigger than an... Did you ever see Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Yes.
They're Augustus Gloop.
Ah.
They're Augustus Gloop. They're also white.
Oh, I love that.
They identify as non-binary. And they say that being straight is a mutation.
No.
They also say how oppressed they are in America. They're American, and they're saying how oppressed they are in America. And the only time I can see them being oppressed is if they're decked out in all pride attire, walking into a Southern Baptist church, and then saying, "Hail Satan! Hail Satan! Hail Satan!" That's the only chance I can ever think of them actively being hunted down and oppressed.
Yeah, I get... Jesus.
Like, if you're going into a Southern Baptist church in all pride attire, immediately people are going to give you the side eye, but they're just going to be like, huh, they're here to get saved. Good for them. And they're actually going to treat them really well.
But to then go all and hail Satan and wonder, like, seriously, that's like a black man walking into a Ku Klux Klan meeting.
And then saying, Hail Luther King, Hail Luther King.
Yeah. Or just yelling Black Power at them.
Just saying BLM, just screaming that. Like, we're making jokes about it, yes, but I'm being serious. The amount of people who scream that they're oppressed here in America.
Yeah.
If a white person screams that they're being oppressed here in America, I'm gonna laugh at them because no, you're not being oppressed. You're not.
Actually,
but at this,
you want to know something?
No.
No,
Garwen,
it's nothing. Not about that. Not about that.
Okay.
I barely remember it, but I've just gotten up in memory. Do you know how little oppression there is in America nowadays?
How much?
There's a YouTuber that I followed a couple years ago, but 5'10" or so, and he is black, and he made a video where he went and met with a Ku Klux Klan leader and had a civil conversation with him.
No, here's the thing. I've actually met with someone who is racist, and not like they make racist jokes or racist humor. No, they actively hate other races. He has met my father, who is dark for a Hispanic man. And even then, he's just like, yeah, I'm okay with these people. And he'll be racist towards us. Like, he'll say, I hate Mexicans. I hate blacks. And I'm just like, great, cool.
Yeah.
You down to go fishing this weekend? Hell yeah, let's go fishing. Let's go hunting. I'm down. Like, he is racist. Like, I kid you not. He hates my kind. But he's still a good friend of mine. Like, he hates Hispanics, but I get along with them. You know why? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, he isn't going to actively hunt me down, tar and feather me, because it's illegal to do so. Back in the 40s and 50s, the reason why they wore hoods on their head was to be vigilantes, to hide their identities, so that way they couldn't get away with it. Nowadays, they can't get away with it even if they wear hoods on their heads.
Yeah.
It is now it is social suicide.
It really is. Like, nowadays, if you do something, even if you had like $1 billion and you put all of it into escaping from the crime, you're gonna get found, because if the cops can't, 4chan will. There hasn't been a target alive that has escaped 4chan.
Actually,
even dead, they haven't.
You know, so many times I have heard 4chan is a racist, like, alt-right wing cesspool. And whenever I look at 4chan, I just look at the basic, and I'm just like, why are they saying communism is good? Why are they saying down with capitalism, down with democracy, it doesn't work?
Here's something people need to understand. 4chan, it's not some right-wing racist blah blah blah. No, it's the biggest collection of autistic pieces of shit on the planet. If they obsess with something, they as a collective come together, obsessed with it all at once, and go, let's find this thing.
God, I'm sorry. I heard you say it is the biggest collective, and I was about to say of basement dwellers, so then you said of autistic people on. Yeah. I was ready. I was not ready for you to say autistic.
And also, for those of you that want to jump on me for saying autistic
I am
people,
autistic.
I am as well. Like I have a bracelet my mother got me because I kept wandering off. And when she gave it to me, she said, "Here is your dog tag."
Here's your microchip dog tag. It is so that way we will know where you are.
Yeah, like seriously though, like it has my name. It says I have autism. It says the thingy I have. It has my mother's phone number on it. So if someone finds me wandering, they can go, "What's this?" Ah, okay, call his mother.
You go out to
and
date.
I wear to this day.
You go out on a date one day, and then one day you just get lost, and you're like, I don't know where I am. Can you call my mom? And you just hold out your wrist to your date, and you're like, I don't know where I am. Can you call my mom? And it just has your mother's name.
It's so hilarious, yeah. But here's the funny thing. I never got lost. I just wandered off because I didn't want to be in a certain place. So the literal purpose of this bracelet is if I'm wandering somewhere, it's for someone to grab my hand, flip it over, see the phone number, and call. Yeah. I don't need to give consent.
Just to say, people, I'm sorry, but pride in America, it is not needed. Like, it is not needed. Because
it really isn't needed anymore, no.
Like, if we're going to march an entire month, do it in the streets of Yemen. Go to Oman, go to Saudi Arabia, go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Israel.
Like, march
Egypt.
Where it is needed, where it is actually illegal to be this thing.
Of course, we're not going to do that. You know why? Because we're going to get shot at. We're going to get killed. But yet we're soldiers. We're soldiers. We stand in solidarity with soldiers.
We're such tough soldiers. We're so tough. We can stand up to all this. Unless they might actually hurt us, then we're just going to stay here. Mm-hmm.
Like
I'm seriously
sorry.
Though, it has actually gotten really, really bad.
Annoying.
Like, I don't take part in Pride Month personally, even though I am part of this community.
I'm a part of it, and I actively go against it. And I'm saying it's an entire month of where businesses will sit on their ass and pander to us. Yeah. Like, let's take Riot Games, for example, with Valorant and League of Legends. Those two games alone.
Like, the only thing businesses see when the Pride Month comes around is dollar signs, because they found a way to increase their sales.
Yes, they go into a market which already is tapped. Like, most people in the Pride community, we're broke as shit. Like, we're already broke as shit.
Like, we're spending money on other shit.
And then they create skins that are rainbow colored or pan flag colored, and they're just like, hey, how about you buy our products?
Like, seriously though, if these companies were actually in line with our community and actually knew like the ins and outs, they would know they shouldn't be pandering to the Pride people. They should be pandering to the furry community. Those fuckers are the richest people on the fucking planet.
I don't know, buddy. I'm pretty sure a few.
Look. Do you have any idea how expensive a goddamn fursuit is? Hey, that is thousands of dollars.
Garwen, I'm getting a notification. I just got an email saying change the fucking subject now, or else I'll put a pipe bomb in your fridge. So let's change the subject before we offend a furry. Okay.
Alright, fine. That is true. Like, just be aware, people. There's a reason you shouldn't bully furries. If they can afford a $10,000 fursuit, they can afford a $10 pipe bomb in your mail. Also, they rule this goddamn country. They're in all the big names. They're in NASA. They're fucking scientists. There's a goddamn engineer whose entire Twitter profile is his furry thing. And in his bio, he's a goddamn bioengineer. Our politicians are among them.
You know what? Can we just stop talking about furries now, please? Like,
yes. I've put ourselves in enough danger. I just had to make people aware.
I am gonna say, they actually scare me. Like, they genuinely scare me.
I can understand that.
And not just because I'm pretty sure that most furries... Like, I as much as I joke about it, there are people who are furry who are pretty chill. Like, sure, they think that their soul is a dog's, and they genuinely believe that they're supposed to be an animal.
Well, the ones I've met have generally been a situation where they like they like this animal's aesthetic and they want to be it. They're aware they aren't, but it's what they wish to be.
Yeah, that's the thing. But here in America, we have gotten so much into the identity politics where...
Like, seriously, I have to say though, ever since you guys closed down your asylums, all these lunatics have been running loose and gaining power.
So, here's the great thing. We actually still have asylums.
Yeah.
They're just
You're just not allowed to keep people against their will anymore. So all the lunatics just say, I'm gonna leave.
No, here's the thing. They were I can't think of the word. They
were made to look better to the public so people wouldn't notice the active abuse going on despite it going on.
No. They're now... Have you ever heard of people in America taking a grippy sock vacation?
No, actually.
A grippy sock vacation is them going to a mental health institution. Where they're literally, like, they're going because the grippy socks are there because they don't want people to slip and fall on normal socks, and the socks make them feel comfy and cozy and everything.
Oh, okay.
They're there to make them feel as comfortable as they can and make sure that they're not going insane. So if you're schizophrenic, they're gonna put you in a padded room. They don't give you knives or forks. They don't even give you a spork. They give you a spoon. Oof. Because they don't...
They underestimate the danger of spoons.
Ask the American...
A spoon is the best way to take an eyeball out. Intact, at least.
Well, let me just continue. So, the American health institutions... they're not called asylums. I forget their technical term, but they're not...
Yeah, asylum has a bad ring to it, so for publicity's sake, they had to drop it.
They change up what goes on in them as well. Instead of studying and testing on them, instead what happens is, because we pretty much know what's going on in the person's brain, we actually try and, instead of trying to fix them and make them normal people, we then just take care of them. They're care places, not testing places.
Also, we actually don't really know what's going on in the brain. Like, we have a vague understanding, more than we used to. We have enough of an understanding to know how little we know.
Ah, yes. Let's go with Socrates. I know that I know nothing.
Yes.
I am smart. I am smart enough to admit that I am an idiot.
Yeah. But yeah.
Man,
still,
Socrates.
media still likes to portray even these now somewhat better places as if you go in there, you're going to be drugged all to hell.
Which is not true. What they do is they give you a like, if you're depressed, like if you are a danger to yourself, like if you're trying to kill yourself, they're going to give you an antidepressant. The antidepressant, note, I think, no, I've talked with this to another person, with Severin actually. One day I was explaining to her why we have depression and all that. And I explained it like this. We have hormone imbalances in our brains. You see, if we have too much serotonin, we begin to have a tolerance to it. And suddenly we're not getting enough serotonin, and suddenly our bodies, it stops producing as much of it. And so when we lose the tolerance to serotonin, our bodies are still producing so little that we don't feel happy. We're not feeling great and peppy and wonderful. Instead, we're feeling... So, what are antidepressants? Antidepressants are literally just little vials of hormones that we take. It's literally serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, endorphin. It's literally the hormones that we need to balance out our moods and our mood swings. So that way we're not depressed. Because depression is literally a depression in our hormones that makes us feel yucky.
Yeah. Like, you want to know something funny about the Nordic countries and depression?
Hold on. I also want to say that is a massive oversimplification of what depression is. If you or a loved one is actually feeling as if you need to take your own life, please go seek a medical professional. Do not listen to this dumbass. Actually, well, listen to me right now. Go to a medical professional, call 911 and tell them, I don't feel safe in my own body right now. I feel like I'm about to hurt myself.
Yeah. Like, do understand. We may give simple explanations of this or that we kind of understand, but in this situation, it's on the level of us explaining why there's light, because the sun is in the sky and it makes things bright.
Mm-hmm.
You know for a fact there's a billion things more to it.
Yes.
But it's enough to get you to understand things to some degree.
I can explain my knowledge about how the sun is bright. It's literally creating nuclear fusion in the sky. Like, the sun is literally a ball of hydrogen, helium, and lithium that is currently just undergoing nuclear fusion. The core of the sun is one day going to become iron. Right now, I think there's about 10 billion pounds of iron in the center of the sun right now. And over the course of millions upon billions of years, it's just going to grow more and more, because nuclear fallout or nuclear death is iron. That you cannot fuse anything further than iron, apparently.
It's too bad it ain't oil. We'd be a spacefaring civilization if that was the case.
I'm sorry, did I hear? I can smell it. Where is it? Where is the oil?
It's in my beard.
I'm getting a plane ticket.
But yeah, like, funny enough, my little fact about depression and the Nordic countries also has to do with the sun. Like,
yeah,
there have been quite a couple studies made, and the Nordic countries are routinely some of the happiest countries in the world, as well as the most depressed countries in the world at the same time.
It's because you get the most sun in the summers. You get a lot of sunlight, and in the winter months you get no sunlight.
Yeah, it's because we don't get enough D's, vitamin D's, from the sun.
But I will say, so our mental health institutions, like, a lot of the time, they are portrayed as evil places, scary evil places, where they torture people to get them to be normal, which it's not even farther from what they actually do. A lot of the time, what they do is they just try and diagnose the person and say, oh, you have clinical depression. Oh, you have bipolar disorder. Oh, you have multiple personality disorder. Oh, you have schizophrenia. You'd actually be surprised at how many people actually have schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Like, it's surprising how many people can live normal lives with schizophrenia. And they're like, yeah, I'm a normal person. I just happen to have other people in my head.
Yeah.
And schizophrenia isn't... Okay, I also want to say, schizophrenia doesn't just mean you have voices in your head. It can also mean that you see things that aren't actually there, or not see things that are there. It's literally the brain creating or blocking out certain stimuli into itself, creating a perceived reality that isn't actually there. which is why some people hear voices, and they're not actually in their heads, it's actually in their ears. And some people say, I hear whispers in my ears. I can see things that aren't there. I can taste things I've never had. I can smell things that aren't there. So our taste, our olfactory, our sense of sight, our sense of hearing, our touch, schizophrenia, it's literally a sensory overload. Like, it's literally the brain is creating its own senses, which aren't actually there. That's why a lot of people with schizophrenia can have normal lives. It's the people who actively listen to their inner thoughts, which is schizophrenia. It's just our inner thoughts becoming more and more vocal and more like seeing.
Yeah.
It's the people who actually listen to themselves and don't acknowledge that they have a problem and to, try and get help that do harm. And that's the people who we hear about having schizophrenia.
Yeah.
But the people who do get help, guess what? They go on to live normal, happy, everyday lives.
Yeah. Like, it's largely the same as when a psycho and sociopath. Like, you'd be surprised that many of them are out there.
Yeah,
but
psychopaths,
they're perfectly normal people. Hell, some of your friends probably are among those people.
Psychopaths are
just
people
wouldn't know.
who just can't create full emotional attachments to things because they are emotionally detached from themselves.
Which, funnily enough, makes them really good at playing the corporate and legal system.
Ha! Gee, I wonder why! They're able to skip aside on ethics and actually see logic for what it is. Sociopaths are quite the opposite. They can't let things go. They can't discern from logic to emotions. Gee, I wonder why we have so many loudmouths controlling our communities.
But yeah, like, bring it back to the Pride March thing. I don't think I'll ever take part in a Pride March. I haven't taken before, and I saw a video like yesterday or so that made me really glad I have never taken part in it, because there were people in the middle of that Pride March, dressed in the most sluttiest attire I've ever seen, screaming, "We're coming for your children."
Oh, that was here in Dallas.
Yeah, that made me so exceedingly uncomfortable.
Here's the thing. They weren't wearing slutty clothing. That was edited. They were naked. I was there. They were naked. I didn't march. I was standing on the sidelines watching. They were naked, screaming, "We're coming for your children." And all I could think of...
the censored version of it.
All I could think of was...
Like, the only thing
God, I wish I had my rifle.
Yeah, like, the only thing I could think was, I see the maps have infiltrated the community. Like they wanted to the entire time.
They've been here for a long time.
Yes, but what that made me think was they're finally accepted.
I don't think they're accepted. I'm pretty sure.
No, but that was the first thought it brought to mind, which tells you how bad it is.
Yeah.
It's a really fucking bad look. Like, there are very, very few situations where yelling, "We're coming for your children," can ever be uttered in a socially acceptable way, and I can't think of one right now.
Here's one. If it is a group of people standing outside of an abuser's house, like a known abuser's house, like the kids are going to school with bruises, and like the kids are inside and the abuser is inside, and there's a group of people outside screaming, "We're coming for your children," like trying to get the kids out of that situation. That's an okay situation to scream that.
Yeah, that can be acceptable.
But and I'm sorry for saying this, but I'm not going to call them what they want to be called. No, they're pedophiles. They're kitty diddlers. They're people who find children, innocent beings who should not ever be touched. Those people who are attracted to those children, deserve to die.
Oh, by the way, Jay.
Death. Yes.
Now, just for future reference, we probably shouldn't say children on these podcasts. Oops.
Fair.
Because apparently that triggers a thingy in YouTube which makes it think our podcasts are for children and then puts extra restrictions on us, and then if we don't live up to those restrictions automatically they fine us for money.
Alright, so I'm gonna give you a soundbite here.
Just call them younglings or, putty people or something.
Hold on, where's my lightsaber? I need to turn that on whenever I say a youngling.
Yeah. Bring out the Youngling Slayer 5000.
Alright, I don't have my lightsaber, but I do have a long stick.
Yeah.
Bring out the younglings!
Like, seriously, you gotta love social media nowadays. Like, it's so influenced by what should or shouldn't be said that, for example, you can't say murder or suicide. You have to say self-harm or... What was the other word? There was another word that's used on social media all the time.
Self-injury?
No, not that. Oh, yes. No. And they off themselves or stuff, something like that.
No. When I was younger, I tried to commit suicide. Keep that in the video. No, keep that in. Keep that in. And here's the thing.
I'm going to keep this entire thing in, just so you know.
Here's the thing, YouTube. Here's the thing. Suicide is a thing that we talk about. You know why? Because if we stop talking about these issues that are occurring, it becomes a taboo to where people can't talk about them. And on top of becoming a taboo topic, it becomes a topic of contention, because suddenly people begin to create hard opinions on things because they can't voice them or hear an opposing idea or side to their argument. Like, I have opposing arguments to what Garwen says sometimes, and he has opposing things to what I say, but they are tempered. They are tempered by us talking about them and talking through them. Such as, I said that in Baldur's Gate 3, Astarion, in his scene where you first find out he's a vampire, it can come apart as very, very... I don't know if I'm actually allowed to say that word.
Wait, I have a word. I have a way to say that. A very non-consensually assisted touching.
Yes, it can come across as very creepy, and in some ways I see him as someone who is trying to non-consensually touch you.
Yeah.
Note, I'm just saying that's how the scene played out, and it made me feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, like I agree with you, that's how the scene can be viewed.
Yes.
I just have opinions about viewing things that aren't intended to be viewed that way as that way, and how it lessens the meaning of other things that are that way.
I agree that some things can lessen that view, but you can also see how that scene, if it had gone through, it kind of would be. By the definitions of most European countries.
Yeah, I can kind of see it, but it's like, it kind of fits the definition, but it has nowhere near the same impact.
I'd argue it has a similar one. Okay, because hear me out.
Like, you have to acknowledge, we live in a day and age where you getting murdered and someone coming back to life is considered less traumatizing than you getting not consensually touched.
Fair. Here's the thing, though. He is non-consensually touching you. And he is actively also going to take your blood against your will.
Yes.
Essentially, he's attempting murder. Even if he's...
He never intended to completely drain you. That would actually go against his survival.
True. However, you could argue, in a court of law, you could argue it's attempted murder.
Yeah, sure. But there's a reason we don't always listen to the court of law in a lot of situations.
And there's a reason why earlier on in this very podcast, I actually said that the court of law sucks, and it is.
Oh, yeah.
It sucks so much. I hate it
Because
because
all those arguments you have for studying, you could make the same arguments for a mosquito that was intelligent.
I would.
Oh, absolutely. Like, there's a
I
reason
would.
why we're actively looking to see what effects wiping mosquitoes would have on the environment.
Yeah. Like,
Because we're
I'm sorry.
actively considering it as species.
Yeah. So, note, people, I'm going to wind down this podcast just a bit here and kind of get away from a bit of these heavier topics for just a moment and just say, everyone, thank you so much for listening thus far. If you have been offended at all by this video, I hope you have turned it off and not waited until this point for me to tell you. If you're offended by what we are saying, this podcast is probably not the best one for you.
Yeah.
The reason why is because we're not going to change how we talk about things. Because, I mean, if we bend at our words, or more than likely we're going to bend our knees. Which essentially means that if a group or a collective of people come together to say, you can't do this anymore. You can't say this anymore. Okay, I can't say that word anymore. That's correct. Okay, I'll start not saying that word. Thank you for your cooperation. Later on, we've decided you can't say this sentence anymore. Okay, an entire sentence this time. Okay, can't say that anymore. Okay, great, wonderful. I'll try and keep that out of my vocabulary from now on. They come back a little while later. We've decided you can't wear this anymore. Okay. I can't wear that anymore. Okay. Do you mind if I ask why? No, we just said you can't wear that anymore because it's offensive. Okay, it's offensive. Okay. I don't want to hurt anyone. All right, that's fine. That seems perfectly reasonable. I don't want to hurt anyone. All right, I'll try and I will make sure that it isn't in my wardrobe anymore. Thank you for your cooperation. A little while later, we've decided you can't fly this flag anymore. Why not? This is my flag. I've had this for years. It's been in my family for generations. Yeah, well, people around here are offended by. Oh, they're offended by it. But they weren't yesterday. Well, they are now, so you gotta stop. But this isn't fair. Like, well, we don't care about what's fair. It's about what's equal. Well, why are they able to fly their flags if I'm not allowed to fly mine? That isn't equal. Their flags aren't offensive. Well, I'm offended. Then you're a bigot. Bend the knee now.
Yeah.
Obey what we say obey what we say you can do. If you don't, we're coming for you. Yeah.
Like,
and then you bend the knee because you don't want to cause any more trouble. And then they're like, "Thank you for your cooperation."
And then it just keeps escalating.
Mm-hmm. So
like, there's a saying I do like to say a lot of the time. Offense cannot be given, only taken. Even in a situation where someone is actively trying to give offense, keep in mind, they're trying. They haven't succeeded unless you allow them to.
Mm-hmm. So, what I'm trying to say, and again, if you are offended by my voice, I'm a libertarian. I try and be a centrist, but I'm a libertarian. What that means is, a lot of people, whenever they hear libertarian, some people hear, oh, you're liberal. No. No. And then they hear, oh, if you're not liberal, then you're probably alt-right, because you like guns, right? Yes, I like guns, but I'm not alt-right. Well, what does that mean? It means I want to destroy my government. It means I want to tear down the government or limit it so much so that it has barely any power on our day-to-day lives. Liberals actually want the government to grow bigger and to actually have more power. Conservatives want things to stay the way they are. Republicans actively want a smaller government, but also big policies, which aren't supported by a small government. Democrats are kind of the opposite of Republicans. They want a bigger government. They want a bigger government, but supported by the same tax brackets that we currently have, which, again, isn't a good thing.
Like, I don't know what I am, and I don't care to know what I am, because if there's a group for me, I don't care. Yeah. I just have the beliefs I believe in, and I say what I say.
Yeah.
Like, the most we might ever do when it comes to how we talk about things is maybe switch a word out for another if it, for example, affects how many people get to see our content. Because, like, in a situation where if we say something and our stuff is deleted, we might as well have not made it in the first place. And at that point, it's less us bending the knee and more us working within the limitations we're given.
One of the things I do want to say about this podcast in particular.
Yeah.
Guys, these are our opinions. It's in the description of every single video.
Yeah.
These are our opinions. These are our opinions, not yours. You can go out and find your own opinion. You can listen to ours, sure, and have yours be formed off of our opinion, but I implore you, look up the facts of what we say. If we're wrong, prove us wrong. Tell us that we're wrong. Don't belittle us, but just tell us, hey, you're wrong because of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Like give us evidence.
We'd love to know if we're wrong about something.
So that way we won't be wrong again.
Like, hell, I believe both of us have changed our opinions on one or a couple topics over the course of this channel.
I won't change my opinion on Astarion, though. Like, he's an evil bastard.
Yeah, and you're allowed to believe that. Well, I mean, he is an evil bastard. Like, there's no arguing that. But yeah, like for example, like I had an opinion early on that I was still trying to process and figure out what it really was, which was the whole the way nowadays we use the word evil, for example. And I was figuring that out, and I finally figured it out a while ago. I don't remember. Do you remember what conclusion I came to?
You said you had the idea that evil in its in the language that we use evil to just describe things that are bad, and it doesn't truly have a perfect counterpart. As in, evil is the lowest of the low. It is something that you cannot go below evil.
Yeah.
But there is nothing on the opposite end of that. You could say righteous, but it wouldn't technically be correct because there's still some bad in that. Some people would still see the bad in that. You could see godly, but then we also see God can do some bad things in our eyes. So there's no perfect counterpart to
there is no goodest of the good. But at the same time, there isn't really like any word between bad and evil that could be used in normal conversation.
True.
Which has led the word evil being used for the most heinous and vile of crimes, as well as the most minute and undeserving crimes. Like,
some crimes that I think I have stated are evil, and I will not change my opinion on, is pedophilia.
Yeah.
Sex trafficking. Child trafficking. On top of that, just to go just a little deeper, slaving. And lastly, but certainly not least, child labor. I see those acts as evil. Sure, children can work if they want to, but don't force them to. Never force them to.
Well, there are situations where slavery is the lesser of a couple evils.
True. Where, well,
like you know, like nowadays there isn't really a reason for it anymore. We've kind of gotten past it with society. But back in the day, where it was a situation of, alright, so do we keep them in these cells forever? Do we kill them all? Do we let them go and then fight them again the next day? Like, we've already gotten rid of the ones that they paid for. Mm-hmm. Do we continue feeding them and ourselves starve to death? Or do we make them work? So while this war is still going on. The only problem is, it's a system that started for a very good reason to avoid the worst possible causes, but it was too easily exploitable.
I do want to say though, a lot of people, whenever I hear someone talk about the Bible who is a atheist or someone who just hates Christianity, they'll often say, well, homophobia is in the Bible. And I'll say, yeah, so is slavery. And they're like, oh, slavery, oh, that means that the Bible is truly evil. No. The Bible actively condemns slavery and says that it is not a good thing in several points of the Bible. The thing is that the Bible actually understands, God understood slavery was going to occur. You cannot stop humans from enslaving other humans. But what you can do is give people guidelines as to how to conduct it in a ethical standard. Because think of it like this. At the end of the day, what is the only thing you personally own? What is the one thing you own?
Just my choice.
Your body.
Oh.
You own your body, your mind, your person.
It's funny I didn't think about my body.
At the end of the day, that's the only thing you actually own, is the flesh bag that you sit in. Yeah. And so, at the end of the day, that's the only thing that you have that is worth anything when anything else is stripped away. So if you're poor and destitute, and you need food and clothing, what do? You can't really go out and get yourself a high-paying job, because, I mean, who's going to employ you? Instead, you could actually sell yourself and say, hey, I will do this amount of work for this clothing, for this food. And in the Bible, it says that you are supposed to treat your slaves with the same respect you are to treat your brother. In other words, you are to give them fine food, fine clothing. You are not supposed to whip or torture them, but you are supposed to incentivize them to do the agreed upon job and task. In the Bible, it explains that slaves are people who are technically owned or under contract by another person, but they are to be treated with dignity as human beings, not as animals upon land.
Like, the way media portrays slavery, I've never agreed with. Like, it wasn't until recently when slavery was efficiently done enough to allow such treatment of slaves, for the simple fact that if you owned a slave, that was probably the most expensive object you owned. Mm-hmm. And if you broke that, hey, that's a big part of my fortune gone.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's gonna be that rich asshole who's gonna break his toys, but there's a reason his house is destitute in a couple generations.
Mm-hmm. So, note, America itself, I just want to say, America itself had pretty much, we had gotten rid of slavery by 1880. Like, almost all of the slaves had kind of been freed by 1880. By the time the Union had been completely restored, there were no more slaves that were legal. Of course, there are small pockets here and there where people were being forced to work against their will, and those places were normally shut down within a few years.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the 1950s and 60s where the civil rights movement occurred, where people of color were able to speak up and said, hey, we're sick and tired of being treated like trash. Civil rights movement came and went, and guess what? We got the same rights as people who are white. Note, we got the same rights. Systemically, we have the same rights now. Do you know what's the only difference between me and a white man? Culture.
Well, not even the color of your skin at this point.
Not really. It's just culture, how we grew up.
Yeah.
He grew up in a different type of family than I did, and guess what? Vice versa.
Yeah.
I like things that the white man probably doesn't like, like actual good food.
Like, I will continue to say this. It doesn't matter how advanced or how much time passes. Slavery will always exist.
Oh yeah.
From the moment man stepped out of that cave and picked up that stick, slavery has existed, and it will continue to exist until the end of time.
Also,
you may not see it all that much today, but it's still out there. There are countries out there that engage in it. There are corporations that engage in it. There are also other countries that say they don't, but just hide it.
Mm-hmm. No,
there's different names for it nowadays too.
I am going to say Garwen is not saying that slavery is okay. He is merely saying that it is going to happen. We can try and stop it as much as we can, but it's going to be there. Now, does that mean that we have to stop trying to stop it? No. Try and help as many people as you can. Try and be a good person.
Like, you have to understand, what I'm saying is, it's a fact of life that will never go away, and all we can do is mitigate it as much as we can. Like we do with crime, for example.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone out there arguing that crime is dead, or that it's ever gonna die.
Yeah. Drug trafficking, sex trafficking, human trafficking, it's all going to continue happening. Yeah. We can just try and stop it as much or as little as we can.
Like, slavery has existed since before the concept of currency. It's going to exist past our civilization. Alright,
so, Garwen.
Yeah.
We are coming up on the 2 hour and 25 minute mark. And I'm just going to say it is now 2 hours and 21 minutes in. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to Flannel Legacies. Thank you so much for listening to our talk about pride, sex, and military.
Oh, wait. Thanks for listening to our talk of pride, sex, and slavery.
Yeah. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for joining us on this journey. Along with that, thank you ever so much for just being with us. Just thank you for being here. Along with that, if you are offended by this video, please do not watch the next one or the next one or the next one, because I can guarantee you're gonna be offended again and again and again.
You
more than likely by me. I'm a very offensive person.
Yeah. Okay. I'll bring this up to just finish it off then. Like, there is a reason why me and Jay, we are on this podcast together. It's because we don't agree on a lot of things. There's stuff we agree on, but there's also a lot we don't agree on. The purpose of Flannel Legacies is simply to show that just because you don't agree on something doesn't mean you can't be friendly. Mm-hmm. Like, when I was in the Caribbean, I was staying with a highly religious and actively homophobic man. We had a lot of discussions, a lot of fun. But he in his heart truly believes that I am an abomination that should not exist. Still probably the best conversationalist I've ever sat down and chatted with.
Mm-hmm. Note, earlier in this podcast I talked about my friend who is in fact a racist, who hates my people, and who hates my skin color, and has actively on several occasions said, dude, why couldn't you have been white? To my face.
Yeah.
And I can call him up right now and ask him if he wants to go fishing, and he will always be down. He will always be down to go hunting or fishing at any chance he gets. Yeah. We have a lot of the same friends. He is a racist, but guess what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Like, I've broken bread with that man I talked about, and I won't say his name because there's a podcast episode we have where I explained a lot of stuff he was talking about, and if his government figures out who he is, they'll probably take him down because he spoke against it quite a bit and is very corrupt over there. Like, I've broken bread with him. I stayed with him for 4 weeks, chatted, ate at his table, drove around town with him, had conversations and all that, and the entire time he knew I was bisexual, or well, pansexual, but it's easier for people to explain to people when say you're bi. I just don't really care enough for this label to explain it to anyone.
Man.
Like, he also took me to his church a lot. Like, I sat there, I sang with their songs, it was actually kind of fun. I went to one of his friends' weddings. I met the bride and groom. It was so much fun over there.
Just because
he's a surprisingly nice and wholesome guy. I love that man.
Just because we have different
he will
ideology,
never accept me.
Just because we have different ideology does not mean we have to be enemies. Instead, a lot of friends and a lot of discussions are created by people creating, well, different opinions.
Yeah.
Because, face it, J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, I believe we all know J.R.R. Tolkien, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tolkien is one of the greatest fiction writers or fantasy writers of his generation, and of this generation as well. C.S. Lewis, one of his best friends. They did not agree on a lot of things.
No.
The one thing that they actually truly agreed on was God exists and he is good. But and in fact, one of, if not the biggest things that I can remember J.R.R. Tolkien saying to C.S. Lewis, your book is going to fail. And he was talking about the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
And nowadays, the Chronicles of Narnia is actually one of the most well-known bits of child's literature.
Yeah. Like, if had he said that about his later books, he would have been right.
True. Especially about something such as Mere Christianity, where C.S. Lewis really went down into Christianity, because I do want to point out, J.R.R. Tolkien actually brought C.S. Lewis to Christianity, if you didn't know that. And along with that, C.S. Lewis, he actually became a scholar in Christianity.
Yeah.
And he is a lot like me in the case of he doesn't like the church. He doesn't like where it goes. He doesn't like what I like to call cultic Christianity, which is where Christians say one thing with their mouth and say that they are accepting of everyone, and say that they will condone or they will love the person. They hate the sin, but they'll love the sinner. And instead, what we actually see and what we witness is a bunch of Christians who will look at people who are doing the things that they say that they hate, and the Christians are actively spitting on those people, saying that they are evil people. Not loving the sinner, but hating the sin and showing them kindness and mercy where they should be. Instead, they're showing them torment and treachery.
Like, those two, the way they wrote their books, very different. J.R.R. Tolkien, he actively despised allegory. He actively tried his hardest to keep Christianity out of his works, because it was not the purpose of it. These, what was it, Lewis?
C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis, he actively put allegory into his books and put as much Christianity in there as he could. They wrote very differently.
Garwen, the entirety of the Chronicles of Narnia is just an allegory for the Bible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Aslan is the Christ-like figure.
Yeah, like, the Chronicles of Narnia, allegory for the Bible. J.R.R. Tolkien actively tried to avoid that. Now, something people misunderstand. J.R.R. Tolkien abhors allegory. The thing he abhors is the writer writing something with the intention of that being viewed a certain way. You can read his works and see something in that, but that is for you to see.
A lot of people can see Aragorn as a Christ-like figure. In fact, I still see Aragorn. Excuse me. Aragorn.
I thought you were talking about the Dragon Rider for a second there.
Aragorn.
Yeah, like you are perfectly in your right to view him that way. Like, you could, there have been people that have wrote to J.R.R. Tolkien saying, I see this in this way. was that your intention? And he'll actively go, no, there was no intention in my thing.
What you see is what you get with it.
What you see is what you get. But you can view it that way if you wish.
Mm-hmm. However, like I said, I can see that Aragorn was a Christ-like figure. I also see Saruman as a freaking Judas figure, where he betrays his friends. And guess what? Saruman and Aragorn never meet.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fit. The thing is at the end of the day, I am the one who is making these parallels. Not Tolkien. I am. C.S. Lewis's works with the Chronicles of Narnia were genuinely made to be that way. Anyways, everyone, I'm going to say that it will be all for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, these opinions are our own. Please, if something has taked or pinged your interest, please look up the facts for yourself. Let us know what you find, and if we are wrong about something, please let us know. Next episode, Garwen. Next episode will be on the F-35 Raptor that went missing.
It really should be. Let's have it that, and hopefully we can get AFG on that one.
Yeah, I'd actually love to hear what he has to say about that.
I really would. Like, he tends to know a lot about a lot of things. Like, we'd have an American, a Brit, and an Icelander on that one.
Oh, yeah. Two white guys and a Hispanic. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, baby.
All right. Let's stop.
You wanted the best part? In that little exchange, one of the white guys is the greatest minority.
All right, let's stop.
Yeah, let's stop. It's just a lot of fun.